Hello, everybody. Welcome again to this edition of Transcendent. Transcendent is the weekly Facebook broadcast of San Antonio in Black, White, and Brown, or SABWB. What is SABWB? It's a leadership space where influencers from every race and every position and every perspective come together. They are based, obviously, in a Christian worldview and a biblical ethic. They come together for two main purposes. One is to build trust with one another, because we will work no further with each other than we trust one another. So we work on building trust. Very interesting path to building trust among leaders. Secondly, we collaborate both on the value and the implementation of principles that shape the culture. Collaborate is to work together on both the value of the principle and how to implement that principle into the culture so that we create an echo chamber. Those of you who are partners with us, please take time at some point to go to what you have access to on the backside of our website and look at our conference entitled The Echo Chamber of Truth. The Echo Chamber of Truth. You will see there we provided a non-example, or we provided actually a negative example of an echo chamber that was created. And that echo chamber so influenced the masses in our nation that had them thinking that what was not true was true. And that's of recent years, although we did the Echo Chamber of Truth about 4 or 5 years ago now in our annual conference. It is as true today. I'm happy to report, however, that what that echo chamber was echoing at that time and moving people in mass to believe that actually is breaking up now. And it's prime opportunity for us to step in and create an echo chamber of truth that encourages people's hearts and lifts the community and blesses its citizens and honors God. So you get to partake in that as you support SABWB, doing it from beyond racial stratification, from beyond political stratification, beyond geographical boundaries, pulling and coming together for the sake of doing something that is healing and helping for the community at large and God honoring. So we're thankful to be a part of that with you. And that's what this weekly broadcast is about. I'm going to get to why I'm wearing this tonight. I just left a community meeting in the school just across the street from my house, Longfellow Middle School on East Sunshine Drive. And some of the things that we were in there talking about tonight, I will share with you as well, because it goes right along with our theme tonight of winning both the civil and the social war. Winning the civil and the social war. That's what we're talking about tonight. And I'll tell you how that conversation very much weaves into that process. A couple things you need to do when you watch. I'm coming to understand how important this is, that you not only watch, but that you like and share. Comment, like, and share. Comment, like, and share. Comment, like, and share. Your comment could be just a hello. It could be an encouraging word. It could be that you're not hearing clearly. I need to speak up. Some comment, like it and share it, and that begins to affect the algorithm and how much exposure we get to have with you on this program tonight. So please like, share, and comment. When you comment, I'm looking at you on my phone, as well as I'm on a laptop computer now, but I see you on my phone, and I'm able to see your comments and interact with you. So please take time to comment and share. I'd love to give you a shout out and see how you're doing out there. So that will help us do that if you will participate. I had a miracle. I had a miracle. I had a series of miracles fulfilling the assignment that God gave me to do the We Still Dream event on August the 28th. August the 28th is the date Dr. Martin Luther King gave the iconic I Have a Dream speech in Washington, D.C. This past August 28th, just a couple of Mondays ago, was the 60th anniversary of that speech. That speech was the pinnacle of a movement. It was the public pinnacle, I should say. It was the public pinnacle of a movement that was taking place in our country at the time called the Civil Rights Movement. And because Dr. King and others paid the ultimate price of their lives to see change happen. You think about that for a minute, that they had to pay with their lives to see change happen. The cost has not diminished. The cost has not diminished. To see significant change happen, some people have to pay with their lives. But as believers in Jesus Christ, we understand that our very captain, the Lord of our lives, paid with his life. So we are not afraid of that cost. We're not afraid to pay with our lives because Jesus paid with his. And when this life is finished, we have the overwhelming hope. We have the overwhelming expectation that we will dwell with the Father in his house forever and carry out the eternal assignments which he will give us in that day. So I'm thrilled about living this life out and seeing change happen. And you are helping that change happen by your partnering with SABWB, San Antonio, in black, white, and brown. I had a woman ask me some very needful questions this week from her own perspective. She was talking about why is it black, white, and brown? And I was able to explain to her that the principles that join us are more primal, they're more basic than the things that splinter us, whether we're black, white, or brown, or anything in between in terms of our pigmentation. So this is us. We're here for that purpose. And you can partner with us, which we invite you to do. It's a good point to tell you about some miracles. In the execution of the We Still Dream event, the Lord prompted my heart to get in touch with Dr. Alveda King, the niece of the slain civil rights leader, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and ask her to come here to San Antonio with us and stand on the steps of City Hall and make the declaration that we still dream. In making that declaration, we were realizing and announcing that there are some aspects to the dream that is not yet fulfilled. They have to be fulfilled. It's not going to automatically happen. Someone has to see it and step into it. That someone is you and me. We see where there is a need to step into the promotion of that dream and the realization of that dream. We step into it and we see it. And some things are happening, even as it relates to schools. The reason I went to that today was manifold, but one of them was because this transformational thing that is happening in our nation right now, certainly the school districts are not going to be left out of that process. And we were hearing about it from people who have invested their lives into that district, San Antonio Independent School District. Statements were made more than once tonight in that meeting with community stakeholders that the future of SAISD is at stake. The future. They closed 9 schools in 2008, 2009, and there's some other closures coming forward. What that looks like, what it would mean for families, what it would mean for those who are reaching forward, and how does that play? They didn't discuss this part because, at least not while I was there. I had to leave to come here to be with you tonight, which is my joy to do. They didn't, but while I was there, they didn't discuss how that is unfolding with reference to charters, not in detail anyway, charters and school choice that is now big on the menu in terms of what will happen in the legislature here in the state of Texas, and what that means for schools and what it means for teachers and what it means for all of that, that is the, the outworking of that. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. It's not time for you to bury your head in the sand and keep it there in hopes that everything will be all right when you decide to pull your head out. I've often said that when your head is in the sand, there's another part of your derriere there's another part of your anatomy, I just gave it away, that is clearly visible. So you don't want to be one who buries their head in the sand. No, you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that man or that woman. You want to be up, have your head up, alert, awake, circumspect. It says in Ephesians 5. The word circumspect means looking around, aware of what is happening around you, and being agents of change in that scenario, because you are called by Jesus to be salt and light. As you are partnering with SABWB, your partnership helped us pace through these miracles. We needed to come to an $8,600 payment that we were able to come through because you bought tickets and gave and did other things. We had a $7,500 gate that we needed to walk through to provide for travel and hotel and related expenses. Then we had to settle up with the hotel. And in every stage where we needed it, we had it that day. That day. The last day was today. As of Sunday, I needed to get to the Marriott downtown a $6,100 payment, which I didn't have. So the total bill was over $25,000. I didn't have the $25,000 when I started out. What I started out with was an assignment. Please hear me. I started out with an assignment. The assignment in my heart from the Lord to do this event, We Still Dream. Invite a member of the King family down to the steps of City Hall, do a dinner that night in the great Marriott River Center ballroom downtown. All of this with no money. It's one thing to have such impressions or such instructions from the Lord and you have, money in the bank to do it with. It's another thing when you don't have any of it. And I didn't have any of it. Not any of it. But the Lord wouldn't let me shake that assignment. He just kept impressing upon my heart to do it, to do it, to do it, to do it. And I want you to know that every step of the way, he provided a miracle. The last one was this past Sunday. I needed by today to have that final payment down to Marriott. And Sunday, I didn't have it. By the time Sunday ended, I had $1,000 of it Sunday night. That left me with $5,100 to raise and get into the bank so that I could get a check, a cashier's check to take it down there today. All the while, when you get an assignment from God, your mind wrestles with your spirit. Because the mind calculates, it looks at the natural things. It looks at the resources that are visible and available. And it will sometimes gather its level of peace from how it evaluates what it looks at. So if you got plenty around you, you're at peace in your mind. If you have an assignment and you don't have any of it around you, you don't have any peace in your mind. The mind fights against you. So you have to go to another part of your being. You have to live out of your spirit. Live out of your spirit. That spirit word, that conviction that you have in your heart from God, you live out of that. And so when my mind began to battle with me on Sunday, the day's coming and the hotel must have what they have required of me. I must have it for them. Where is it going to come from? So Sunday night, I got on Facebook on my own personal page and made an appeal. Dead in the water, nothing happening. Nothing happening. Monday at noon, I get on again Facebook and make the appeal. That time I had this sense in my actually I had this sense in my spirit a few days before, a couple of days before, that I was talking to someone who could do the whole thing by themselves, and it would not be a strain on them at all. I had that knowing, so-called a word of knowledge, down in my heart that I was talking to someone like that. So when I got on, my mind was saying, look, you only got 7 people live, and most of those live people you know, and as far as I knew of them, none of them had $5,100 just laying around that they could give and not be strained. God often causes us to give something that is a strain for us to give, because he's provoking our hearts to trust him. And the thing with which we must fundamentally trust God in our day is money, because money answers all things. Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 19 says money answers all things. So when you trust God with your money, you're actually trusting him with the very basis of your life. When you don't trust him with money, you let your rationale and your reason kick in, and you say, I need this for that, instead of obeying God with it. You still won't meet the need, and you're left frustrated. So I got on at noon on Monday and said essentially what I just said to you. It wasn't a panic. I told the people I wasn't worried, because in my spirit I was not worried. In my mind, there was a battle going on. You have to get to the bank today. Now, this was in the afternoon. Bank closes at 4. You have to get to the bank today. So you got less than 4 hours for somebody to hear it, respond to it, and you get to the bank. So my mind was rationalizing. You have nothing to be at peace about. Tomorrow, are you going to face them with what is required of you to have, and have nothing? Or I had 1,000 of it. So I had that sense again when I got on at noon on Monday, that I'm talking to somebody who could round out the need. And when I got off, and still battling with my mind, but confident in my spirit, as I said to them, I got a text. And the person on the other end of the text said, I understand you have a need, and God has blessed me, and I want to take care of the remaining portion of that need. The text went something like that. When I saw it, I was elated. And the person went on to say, is that all you need? And actually ended up giving me more than what I needed to satisfy the hotel today, and to give me some ability to get through the rest of this month addressing some needs. God came through yesterday so I could meet the need today. Yesterday. Whew. Whew. He did it because he's faithful. And oh my goodness, he is so faithful, beloved. And I want to thank God for the obedience of that one person. The obedience of that one person that God blessed, who was willing to be a blessing. But let me say this real quick to you. Don't allow the obedience of one person to encourage your disobedience. In other words, don't say, oh, thank God the person met the need. I'm good. I don't have to do it. No, if the Lord's speaking to your heart, you obey too, because there's ongoing needs where SABWB is concerned. There's an internet service we have to pay for. There's accounting things that we have to pay for. There's taxes that have to be paid. There's all kinds of phone bills and rent and all kinds of ongoing things that have to happen. And then above and beyond that, the resources to do things like the We Still Dream event, or like the event that I'm telling you about tonight, that I'll start telling you about tonight, that takes place on January the 13th, 2024, January 13th, 2024, called the Freedom Walk, with the tagline, Winning the Civil and the Social War. And I'll start telling you about that tonight. But before I get into it, I want to tell you that we want to give to you, just as that person was faithful and gave to us and relieved us. Heaven, our hearts rejoiced. Thanksgiving was rendered unto God on our behalf because of the obedience of that one person. And if you're listening tonight and you want to help move the purposes of God forward as it relates to SABWB, then go to our website at sabwb.org and click on the member button. Follow a few simple prompts, and you'll be our monthly partner. We ask you to partner for as little as $10 a month. You want to give to us, you can do it any number of ways that you just saw on the screen. You can find us on Cash App at $SABWB. You can find us on Venmo at SABWB. You can find us on Planning Center, SABWB. Type in your amount and text that to 84321. You can go to our website and donate there as well, but just by clicking on the donate button and use PayPal to do it. You can do any number of ways to become contributors. We want you to become our monthly partners, however, because there are things that we want to share with you that's in the membership portion of our website, and you can take advantage of those. And we also give you a gift package. You see it on the screen. It comes in this neat little tote, SABWB. It's a nylon tote, so it's handy for a lot of stuff. You got wet clothes at the gym, you sweated them out, and you don't want them to stain up your car or smell up your car even. You put them in, tighten that up, and get them home to wash. You're going to the store and you need to pick up just some milk and cereal. Put it in this nylon tote. It's tough enough. It's reinforced at the corners so that it doesn't tear. And those corners also allow you to carry it like that. It's a real neat tote. And we want to give it to you, but before we give it to you, we want to fill it up. We want to fill that tote with a couple things. One with two books, Leaders Are Readers and Readers Are Leaders. Leaders are readers and readers are leaders. These two books, written by the late great Alan Vincent, chronologues how God used him and his wife Eileen, who is still, by the grace of God, fulfilling God's purposes back in Great Britain now, where they were from which they hailed. But they were called first to India and then to other nations of the world. And God profoundly used these people, giants they are in the faith. And so the story is detailed in here, how God moved them from his job as an engineer to begin to use that scientific mind and the calculating mind to operate in the things of faith. Very important for you to see how people just go from one stage to the other. Sometimes they appear on the stage, on the scene, and we think, they're just good, I guess. But no, there's a journey that they have taken, and that journey for them is in this book. This one is a classic. The Kingdom at War really just tells us how to take the principles of the kingdom of God and put them to use in everyday life and everyday assignments. You do have those who are warring against your assignment, and you need to know how to contend with them. You need to know how to contend with those things. Thanks, guys, for coming on. Like, share, and comment. And so this is for your cold drinks. Has a little thing at the bottom so your sweating glass or container doesn't wet up wherever you have it seated. And it also has SABWB on it. These are all conversation starters. When somebody asks you, what is that? Just tell them it's a leadership space where influencers from every race and position and perspective, Christian leaders, come together to trust one another and then to work together on the value and implementation of principles that shape the culture. The last thing in that gift package is this right here. Now, had I not gone to the community meeting tonight, I would have been sipping, which I could use right now. I'm not a coffee drinker. I should say I'm not a heavy coffee drinker, but because of what is happening with Be Easy Coffee, I've had to taste the product, and oh my goodness, it's smooth. It has a little chocolatey taste to it. This is without sugar, without any additive, without any creams, without sugar, just black. And I prefer coffee black. Some of you want, additives and your pumpkin spice and all that stuff in it. But tonight, had I not gone to that community meeting, I would have been sipping, because we got the beans. We found a roaster here in the city of San Antonio. That roaster is doing an incredible job to bring the flavor out of these beans. We've had those roasted beans ground, and I've had a cup of the coffee. We're only now looking to finish up some preliminary marketing side of it to give you the opportunity to start purchasing it. And when you purchase it, you in part help support SABWB, and you help lift farmers on the other side of the world in the nation of Rwanda as well. So that becomes a very valuable tool for you, your SABWB coffee cup. And we put all of that in that tote that I showed you earlier, and we give it to you as a thank you for partnering with us for as little as $10 a month. That person that I talked to this week also asked me, she said, and my daughter, who's also in marketing, and she actually produces this show, has said the same thing to me many times. But she said, is $10 working for you? Is that enough? And of course, it's not enough. But as I explained to her, what we're doing with that is trying to keep it within reach for a bunch of you to participate. Almost anybody can do $10. I say almost because some people can't, but almost anybody can. So if you want this voice for you to stay in the forefront of what's happening in our city, and to know how the body of Christ ought to respond, if you want this voice pulling leaders together on your behalf, certainly on the assignment of the Lord, but on your behalf also, support SABWB. If you want this voice to be your voice in the marketplace, if you want this voice to be your voice at City Hall, if you want this voice to be your voice in business, the voice of the kingdom of God in business, in education, where I was tonight, support SABWB. You can do it. You can do it. Go to our website, click on member, walk through a few simple prompts. I'm not a tech guy, but even I can do that. And if you just want to donate, click on the donate button. Do it there tonight. At SABWB, you can do all those things as well. So thank you. Thank you for your participation. Now I want to take you by this commercial right to the coffee fields in Rwanda. I was standing in them in this commercial. And I'll be going back to Rwanda and going back to visit these coffee fields again, checking on them and their productivity and growth. Rains have started to come now in Rwanda. I speak to our representative in that nation once a week on Wednesday, so I'll be talking to him tomorrow. And if it's not Wednesdays, it's one of those days, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, that we will talk, and he will give me up to date on a number of things, one of which is how the coffee fields are doing and what they're producing. We're getting ready to move our next harvest into these United States. That stuff is happening, people. It's happening. So go with me to this commercial, and when we come back, we'll start to unpack how I have this little badge on and how that works into our theme tonight, over winning the civil and the social war. I'll be right back right after this commercial. Okay. All right, I'm here in Rwanda, and we're up in the coffee farms right now. So I've been telling you about the upcoming Be Easy Coffee organic premium coffee. And these are beans that I have in my hand. These are brand new beans. There's already a harvest already in place. These are just the early parts of the second harvest. And these beds that you see that are now empty will be full of organic premium coffee beans. And you have an opportunity to get a bag of Be Easy coffee for yourself. And we're going to work, of course, as I said before, on the San Antonio blend for SABWB. You'll be able to get your coffee mug and sip premium organic coffee. I told you it was coming, and it's on the way. Okay. And indeed, it is here, and more on the way. So when I'm excited to get it here because I know many of you have been waiting, and as we have been, things don't happen overnight. I wish they did, but they don't happen overnight. So we're going through some preliminary decisions about marketing this product and making sure that the website is ready to handle the demand, because I'm telling you, it's great coffee. In fact, the coffee is so good that the roaster who roasted it has a coffee line himself. In fact, he got into coffee, that business, because he's a coffee connoisseur. He roasted these beans, he tasted that coffee, and he said to Marcia, my daughter, whose company Be Easy Coffee Company is, he said, I want to get some of that coffee. He wants to purchase it and sell it in his own coffee shops. It's just great stuff, man. It's just great coffee. So Marcia is making ready to, have a soft distribution event, and then like a big event to get Be Easy Coffee to you. And you're buying it and drinking it, enjoying it, is going to aid in part SABWB, that portion that will come through SABWB. You will aid SABWB with it, and you'll be helping farmers on the other side of the world, lifting a nation, and nations, actually, the nation of Rwanda and the nation of Malawi out of poverty, and mainstreaming them for the purposes of God to be fulfilled in those nations. This is great stuff, guys. Great stuff. That is taking place, and I'm so encouraged by your participation in it. Get on the horn tonight to somebody. Let them know that you're on and that you're watching SABWB. Melba, thanks for watching. You're so faithful to do that. Like, comment, and share. Good evening to you also, Melba. That gets it out there so everyone else can see and participate. Okay, so let me start unpacking tonight's subject. Freedom Walk 2024, the Freedom Walk 2024. Go ahead and gather your calendar right now. Maybe it's a paper calendar that you've pinned to the wall, or maybe it's on your phone, on your technology, maybe on your iPad. Go to January 13th, 2024. Go to January 13th, 2024. I'm going to do it on my phone as well. You will see that January 13th, 2024 is a Saturday. That's the weekend where the city will also, on the 15th of January, the city may host, and I say it may because it's made some decisions in the past about doing the MLK march or not, and it was based on COVID and all that stuff, the political stuff, not the physical stuff. Someone who has a respiratory illness, what has made them have respiratory problems, the virus, the viral germ, cannot be blocked by a mask. There's been tons of studies now uh, since this has happened to prove that what they used to do for people that were attacked with viral germs that were fatal or harmful is what should be done now. They quarantined them because you can't put a mask on them that they're breathing and stuff. The mask will stop it. It won't stop it. The masks are too porous, but they're trying to bring it back again. And in certain states like Oregon, for example, they're moving again toward lockdowns. There will be a lot of states in the United States and a lot of cities that will not comply because we know better. You can fool some of the people some of the time. You can't fool all the people all the time. And there are some who understand now. So if you are battling respiratory illnesses, please understand scientifically the science. If you follow the science, you cannot keep from spreading it nor keep from contracting it by wearing a mask, because the viral germs are way too small for the porous face of your mask to stop it. Yeah. What they used to do is what needs to be still done is quarantining. If you have that issue, quarantine yourself. Let the rest of the world that is not affected with it continue to operate as normal. If you contract it, quarantine yourself until you're over it. And even if you're in quarantine, there's no need for you to put a mask on, because again, you're not going to solve the problem. According to what medical professionals have said and are saying, you're not going to solve the problem by putting on a mask. And if the right leadership is in force, you will not be businesses and schools and things will not be mandating that you wear one. They cannot mandate that you wear one. But if you feel like just for your own safety and it makes you feel, your conscience feel good, and that you're somehow aiding the welfare of your own health, or maybe the health of others, that's what you believe, then absolutely wear it. Absolutely put it on and sport it. Do what you do. But don't force that on somebody else who knows science better, who knows that doesn't really help. So with the right people in office, we'll handle it differently this time around than we did back in those days, just a few years ago. Having said all of that, I need to just remind you that on that day, the 13th of January, we're going to be participating in the Freedom Walk. Let me say here and now that the Freedom Walk is not in competition to or not in opposition of the MLK march that the city will do 2 days later on the 15th. I'll do both on that weekend. I'll walk the 1.5 miles that the Freedom Walk is, and on Monday, the 2+ miles that the MLK march is. That weekend, to honor him, is a great thing. What's the difference in the two? Well, one, the Freedom Walk starts at Lincoln Park. It starts at Lincoln Park. We're already got the places reserved and whatnot. In fact, you can go on Eventbrite and register. Did you know there's already people registering for the Freedom Walk now? They're already registering. We'll be contacting some schools to bring their students out, because it will be educational. It's going to be an educational walk. We're going to start at Lincoln Park talking about Lincoln's pregnancy, talking about Lincoln's presidency and the Civil War and what the Emancipation Proclamation did. He was the president that initiated the Emancipation Proclamation. So we're going to be talking about that, some dynamics shaping the Civil War, what his first intentions were and what his last intentions were, and why he issued the Emancipation Proclamation. We're going to go through that. I'm reading through some autobiographies now, some biographies, not autobiographies, some biographies on Lincoln's life. It's a very troubled man in terms of his emotional state. Had some nervous breakdowns, had some incredible losses. We're going to talk about all of that, how to bounce back from loss, and how to be a champion in the midst of a trial. All of that is going to be a very motivational and educational piece right at the front, starting at Lincoln Park. Buses will take you from the Freeman Coliseum to Lincoln Park. You'll be dropped off in buses. We'll walk from Lincoln Park through these 4 stations down to MLK Park. Then buses will pick you up at the MLK and bring you back to the Freeman where your cars will be parked. It's a really, really, really wonderful and a neat opportunity. Most of the route is downhill or level. Most of it is downhill or level. You have a little bit of an incline just before going into MLK Park, and then it's downhill to the field from there, to the open field. So you're going to enjoy the walk. It's a short walk, a little over a mile, I think it's a little over a mile and a half, if I recall it, a little over a mile and a half, but we're going to make 4 stops, where we're going to have 4 stations. The first station will be at Lincoln Park. The second station will be in front of a Second Baptist Church on Commerce Street. The church had a prominent role in winning both the civil and the social war. And we're in a social war right now, and the church must reclaim its voice. That's what we're going to be talking about at that second station. Then we're going to go to the bridge on Commerce Street and reenact the Pettus Bridge. And there we're going to talk about community relationships, the relationships between law enforcement and the community, the relationships between differing communities around our city. That bridge is going to foster unity. That'll be the place where unity is born, or unity is strengthened, or unity is matured here in the city of San Antonio. And after the bridge, the next stop is MLK Park. And in MLK, the final piece, you'll hear some inspirational talks, and then you will hear some practical workshops on how you can get involved in making that dream something that San Antonio realizes. The Freedom Walk, January 13th, 2024. So you're going to see after we do the I Pray commercial, I'll come back and show you some graphics associated with the Freedom Walk, so you can begin to plug into that and get that done. Okay, so here's our I Pray Experience commercial. I'll be right back right after that.
Hello, my name is Kathy Carizales, and I'm here to invite you to the I Pray Experience here in person at 8023 Vantage Drive, Suite 313, or watch us on Facebook Live at SABWBTX. We are excited to pray for the needs of the city or our government, and we hope that you can join us, like I said, online or in person. It is the Lord's desire that we would spend time with Him and get His job done on earth. God bless you, and I hope to see you.
So join us every Friday from 10 to 11. We're now praying through the gates in the book of Nehemiah. Let me encourage you to go to our website, the church website. I taught this message at Faith Outreach Center International, And you can go to faith-outreach.org and listen to a message series entitled The Gates. You'll first see an entry, and then you start to get the message for each of the gates. Just type in the name of the Sheep Gate, the Fountain Gate, the Valley Gate, the Old Gate. Just type in the names of the gates, and you will see a message that will come forth that I preached back in 2008. There are 10 gates in Nehemiah. I preached on 8 of the 10 gates. But we're going to pray through all 10, beginning on Fridays at 10. We've already begun that process. Fridays from 10 to 11. How that relates to rebuilding the gates and the walls around a city to revitalize the city, to bring life back into the city. Great things are happening in regard to that. I want to take these last 10 minutes and tell you how this kind of plays into winning the civil and the social war. In the meeting tonight, or during the meeting, I should say, I was approached by a communications person for SAISD. Her name is Brooke. And Brooke asked me about my thoughts of what was going on there tonight. And I have plenty of thoughts about it. Let me say that I met with the Honorable Barbara Gervin Hawkins in her office not too long ago, because school choice is something that the governor and lieutenant governor is committed to. How that can happen, it takes a masterful mind, and I'll tell you that Mrs. Barbara Gervin Hawkins is a masterful mind. She's running a wonderful complex that bears the name of her brother and one of San Antonio Spurs favorites, George Gervin. But she has built out that dream and has become an incredible blessing to the west side of the city. Not only that, she represents District 120 at the State House. And she begins her days with prayer, and she's a woman committed in her faith to God. She's a Democrat. Some of you will say, how can a Democrat be God-fearing and God-loving? How can you as a Republican be God-fearing and God-loving? Your political party does not identify you, I hope. I hope you're not a Christian because you're a Republican, because you can be a Republican and a rascal and a Democrat and a rascal. The label behind your name does not define your character. People are joined to these political parties based on their own convictions about what political system they believe can help them serve the population most closely. I know some people would love to deify the Republican Party and demonize the Democratic Party. Now, I will say to you out front and outright that there are some things, more things on the Democratic platform that are anti-Christ than I find on the Republican platforms. Do your own research. See where these folks have come from, and you will see that there is a historical difference for sure as it relates to Black people in the two parties, and not the history that you think. The Republican Party was actually birthed to give Black people a platform to begin to govern themselves. I highly recommend Dr. Tim Wesley's book, The Republican, who's a Black man and historian for the Republican Party of Texas, or was at that time, and has published a book entitled The Republican Party, the way backwards. The way backwards, not backwards. The way backwards. And he chronologues the changes, the vicissitudes that happened within the party, within the Republican Party, from its birthing to empower Blacks to what it is now today. And also he points out the atrocities committed by the Democratic Party and the lies that they have told to the Black community. But this woman is Barbara Gervin Hawkins is a brilliant woman and a child of God. I believe she has the goods to carry this school choice ball across the finish line. She is savvy. She is experienced, has served at all levels of education, from teachers to principals to superintendent. She has a wealth of experience and knows how to talk to people. Great things going on there. This is the San Antonio Independent School District. The SAISD has 98 campuses, and it services tens of thousands of students. That was a part of the briefing tonight. I think it was somewhere around 78,000 students, somewhere in that ballpark. Comparatively, Northside has less facilities, less numbers of facilities, servicing more students. They service upward close to 103,000 students in that district. That's just here in the city of San Antonio, 17 school districts here. Something's happening in the SAISD. And SAISD is largely inside of 410. What the moderator in the discussion pointed out tonight was that something is happening to the population in SAISD. One thing is that the birth rate is declining. Now, Planned Parenthood cites, prior to the dismantling of Roe v. Wade at the federal level, and states like Texas that have erred on, have not erred, they have moved to the side of life to preserve life. Those centers, those Planned Parenthood centers, were within walking distance usually of Black and brown communities. Planned Parenthood is the largest abortion mill in the country. They were the largest abortion providers, closest in proximity to Black and brown communities, results in a diminution. So there's flight taking place. Let me just say this, because I only have about maybe a minute or so left with you tonight. That also in the school district, as I pointed out to Brooke, who took down some thoughts, it'd be interesting to see what she puts up on SAISD's website as a result of conversations that she had with me and my youth directors tonight. George Marin and Valeria Marin, his wife, they did incredible jobs at putting their thoughts on the line, giving this woman something to think about. But a lot is happening. Not only is there a diminishing birth rate, there's also, as Val pointed out, the difference in the moral teaching. Not just the academic, but the moral teaching. If the moral teaching at school is different than what they're being reinforced at home, taught and reinforced at home, the child then becomes a rope upon which either end the parent and the school are tugging, trying to get the child into their camp or into the other camp. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that there is a fight between the family and the educational system over the values training of their children. And most people won't confront that because they're not confronters by nature. So they'll just vote with their feet. They'll put their child in a charter school where they think that those things are not going to be embraced or talked about. And they've done it. The SAISD has lost 20% of their student body. The lady said it tonight. They've lost 20% of their student body to other forms of education, either charter or other schools. Others would be Christian or parochial schools or homeschooling. They've lost 20% to that. But they seem not to want to talk about what's causing that. Well, if your school will allow a boy to go into a girl's dressing room or bathroom because he feels like it, He feels like he's a girl, and doesn't tell him that he's dealing with a mental condition known as gender dysphoria and that he needs counseling. You get flight from places like SAISD. And then mandating that things take place on the campus which are not medically sound. See, these are tough questions. Yes, there are some dynamics changing. Why are they changing? Yes, people are leaving. Why are they leaving? Ask those pertinent questions, and to try to get to the root of those answers might be of great service. It certainly would be of great service to SAISD, particularly on the emergence of school choice. School choice means that your money, your tax dollar, follows your child to whatever private or religious or charter or public school you want that child to go to. And you get a chance to lay out the curriculum and the programs and hire the teachers and do the stuff that is necessary to be done to provide an education for those children that makes them leaders in the future. We must win the social war. We must win the civil and the social war. That's what the theme of our upcoming Freedom Walk in January is: winning the civil and the social war. So we'll talk about that as we move into that time frame. I'm out of time for you with you tonight, and I want you to be a warrior, be a supporter of those who are willing to be a warrior. You're looking at a ministry that's willing to be a warrior, and will go down fighting, go down into the grave. I mean, fulfilling the purposes of God that makes it better for the reign of the kingdom of God and a blessing of the community at large. So partner with us, and let's together make transformational change in the city of San Antonio. I love being with you. Thanks for being on with me tonight. I will see you next week. Remember your Be Easy coffee cup. Become our partner. Get that cup in your hand, and you and I will sip our way to changing nations and changing our city at the same time. God bless you. Love y'all big. Have a good night. Bye-bye now.